Hey, welcome back. I had a false start, but hopefully I cut it out. So I went to get the fairy, and so I could beat the dungeon. So I might have to do that before every dungeon from now on, because 3 hearts, and they don't give you hearts. Okay, where's the dungeon again? I'm pretty close. I think you just go left and then down. I was going to talk more about the stuff that I talked about yesterday. Is my computer being loud? I'm going to close the door. Am I choppy? I noticed 2 weeks ago my mouth was a little bit delayed. I don't want to say that because then you'll notice it and you'll be like, oh, I can't watch anymore. If I don't say anything, usually you can't tell. But it was delayed a little bit. I think it's just because my computer's being kind of slow. Oh, I'm going to save it. I gotta save it. Okay, what was I talking about yesterday? Thinking about fundamentalism. It's interesting to think about, like, what is the difference between, like, me and my parents, my cousin, my grandparents, my uncle, my aunt. It's very small, but it has, like, it seems very small. I guess maybe, I don't know. But it has such a big impact because my cousin, like, she's been talking about, like, I've had to do this deconstruction process because, like, all these things I was taught I don't think that I like them. She didn't really say that. I shouldn't paraphrase her. Kill the bats. But I guess, and I am kind of doing that now a little bit, but not as much. I'm not like, I don't think my parents did anything wrong, ever. And my mom said something when we were talking to my cousin that I was like, oh, I don't know, like, that's where I get it from, or she said something that I've said here, but I thought it was my thought. I mean, this is kind of obvious to anybody who's a Christian, and it's a place where a lot of Christians start. But I've said it on here a bunch of times, and you don't hear a lot of Christians really say this. I don't feel like. But what I said was, Jesus gave us. He says this 2 or 3 times, I forget. Definitely in John and definitely in Matthew. I think it's John 13:30 something, where he's like, new command I give to you, love your neighbor as yourself, or love God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. That's what Jesus said are the 2 most important commandments. Basically, he's summarizing the 10 commandments. Because the first 5 of the 10 commandments are about God, and the second 5 are about, like, don't murder people and stuff. But, like, that's it. And then what my mom said was, like, well, Christians, we get, like, bored, and so sometimes we come up with rules and stuff, and that's what the Pharisees did. The Pharisees memorized the entire Bible, the Torah. They knew it better than I will ever know it. And Jesus was still like, you guys are so wrong about, like, everything. So we mess it up constantly, even if we feel like we're super smart and we know everything. So that's what my mom was saying about, like, people who are fundamentalists and deconstructing from that, like, that's what Jesus did. He deconstructed from the Pharisees. He's like, You could say that. Should I be using the boomerang more? Is that a good thing? Or the bow and arrow? I don't know. I just don't want to get hit by the static thing, because it stuns you. Give me that. There we go. Give me hearts, please. Okay, now I can do something? Or what? Okay, cool. This is hard. This is even hard. I have all the upgrades and everything. Oh, God. Let me be. I'm gonna maybe save. Even though. Okay, so the whole point of that was like, it did make me feel a little bit bad. I'm gonna stop hitting this. Because I'm like, oh, I thought I kind of came up with all these thoughts by myself, but I guess I just copied it from my parents. We're all just copying stuff from our parents, and I'm just lucky that I had good parents. That's just kind of a bummer. Because think about all the people who aren't lucky to have good parents. It was a little bit strange to hear my mom say that, because I'm like, oh, I don't know. Well, and then I guess maybe my dad is a little bit more literalist, whatever you call it, than my mom. Because that's my problem with the religion and Christianity, is like making these kind of like arbitrary rules that everybody has to follow. Oh, men can't wear women's clothing because a verse in the Bible. But like, why? It doesn't make sense. Why does everybody, like, maybe it's in the Bible, so it's important. I've said this a billion times, but why does everybody have to be the same exact person? It doesn't make sense. And that's why Jesus was like, love your neighbor, and then all the other stuff will follow. I don't know what I'm doing. Did I die? What happened? I don't remember. I wasn't paying attention. This dungeon is hard. I think, but it's nice that once you kill everything, they like go away forever. So that's good. I got a nice feeling, like hearing my parents and my grandparents my cousin was being a little bit like, Christianity can be bad sometimes, like it's not always perfect and amazing. And the way my family responded to that was really nice. They were like, they said all the right stuff. They were like, yeah, you know, don't let other people like try to tell you what God is, and don't let, just, it's like, it's important to think about it, but like, don't make like all these rules like confuse you about what God is. God's real and he loves you, and that's it. And if anybody else is trying to tell you like you're a bad person or whatever, then it's bad. And Jesus is good and he loves you and everything. Sometimes, I don't know, I might have to end there and just, oh no, I have more time. Sometimes when I'm around my family, they'll talk about like the legalistic stuff, like, oh, this is predestination theology, and like people who don't, Catholics aren't real Christians or whatever. And I'll think of like, well, you guys are kind of, you're not practicing what you're preaching. But then I think, oh, it's kind of nice that they feel comfortable talking like that around me, and they didn't really feel comfortable talking like that around my cousin. Like, they think I'm one of them, and I kind of am. I mean, as much as I don't know. Uh-oh. There's an Amber Alert. 2-year-old Sebastian Rios, black male, subject father. 27-year-old Tyler Rios, vehicle is silver. Ford. Okay, if I see, I should look out this window. Last seen in Rahway, New Jersey. I don't live close to there, but that's cool that they do the Amber Alert thing. Maybe it's just the whole county they send out the alert. I don't get very many of those, which is good, I guess. They feel comfortable talking like deep theology stuff around me, and sometimes I take that like bad, because I'm like, oh, I don't agree with that. But if I don't agree, then I should talk, because like they feel comfortable enough to talk about that stuff around me, so they think like I'm in, and I am in, and I should be able to talk to them, and I just, okay, this is making me feel bad about myself again. That just made me like my family more, I guess. Like, when they were talking to my cousins, like, that's what they really believe. That's the core of their belief, is like, God loves you and he's good, and you shouldn't be like a Pharisee, and you shouldn't be so strict about all these rules, and you shouldn't make people feel bad about not following the rules or whatever. And your parents shouldn't like shame you for not being godly enough or whatever, like my cousin was upset about. Did I talk a little bit too personally about like, I don't know, nobody's watching, right? Maybe. I have to go up, right? Being a Christian is good. That was a feeling I got leaving. Like, it is good to have a foundation, like, instead of having to build your own foundation of like what it means to be good, you could just have Christianity and be like, Jesus is the foundation of what's good. I don't have to make it myself. You can look at it like that. That's how I look at it, I guess. There are other ways to build a foundation, but like, building a foundation is hard and it takes a lot of work. Why not just have Jesus be that, and have him, like he said, love your neighbor, and to be selfless, and to give to the poor, to love your enemies, and blessed are the peacemakers, all that good stuff. Like, that's the foundation that I can go to, like, when I'm like, oh, what does it mean to be a good person? Am I loving my neighbor? Am I being a peacemaker? And those are all things that I can believe. Like, yeah, those are... I had a weird note where I was like, I want to go through the New Testament and look at everything Jesus says and see if I ever disagree with anything. Because I don't think I do. And, like, that's why I'm a Christian, because it's all good stuff. And especially in, like, 30 AD, Jesus was saying crazy stuff. And it still is good. Nobody else was saying that, and that's not true. But whatever. I just like Jesus. He's a good guy. See you tomorrow. Bye.